Good evening. And on this episode of Looking Back, we're headed to 1876. This actually happened in Scotland, but it was a Missouri newspaper that published it. This is really quite interesting, and this is about the ghost of a ferocious dog. Yeah, pretty interesting. So what happened was there was a man named William Richardson, and apparently he must not have been too nice a guy, because as some kids were going to school and a dog was trailing them, just a happy-go-lucky doggy, he shot the dog. He shot and killed the dog. I don't know why he would do that, but apparently they were going through his property and he'd had enough and he shot the dog. So that night, this huge mastiff made an appearance at this gate at about 11 o'clock at night. He was already asleep, and he hears this howling and mourning, this wailing and mournful wail, and he couldn't believe what was going on. And he's also hearing this terrible scratching at his door. So he jumps out of bed and he rushes to the front door, and on opening the door, he saw his own dog run into the house and go right under his bed, totally freaked out. So this Mr. Richardson tried in vain to get his dog from underneath the bed and out of the house, and the dog's just not going. He's not going. He's not leaving the house. So he decides he's going to go outside and figure out where this howling is coming from. So he goes out the front door, he goes to his fence, and he's going to, I don't know why, he's going to jump over it instead of go through the gate. But anyway, he's going to jump over the fence, and he's directly faced with this large black dog poised on its hind legs. And in the paper it said its eyes are dilated, the mouth is open, and it has every appearance of this ferocious mad dog. Apparently Mr. Richardson didn't feel so brave at that point, and he decided to go back into the house. So he runs back into the house, slams the door, and in a few moments he decides, you know what, I'm going back out there, and he's going to go out there with his rifle. So he goes outside, he aims, and he fires at the black object. But nothing happened. The dog vanished in smoke, and he couldn't believe what he was seeing. So a short time after this happened, a neighbor of his hears the gunshots, comes running outside to figure out what's going over, and he said he stumbled over some rabid animal. He gave he screamed, he called his wife. He says he'd been bitten by a mad dog. A young man that was boarding with that family, renting a room, was awakened by the screams of this man, and he came running out of the household. And he immediately got sticks and stove wood, pieces of cut wood for the fireplace. And he starts throwing them in the direction that this dog apparently had taken off to. But the object, this dog, he sees it in the shadows, it doesn't move. And he's he can't believe it. So everybody at this point is really freaked out. The young man goes back into the house. I guess the rest of the family does too. And they leave Mr. Richardson to deal with this ghost dog because they don't know what's going on. But right after this commotion, yet another neighbor, a Mr. Lake, was awakened by this scratching at the door. So Mr. Lake arises, gets out of bed, goes to the door, and with a frightened scene, he couldn't believe it. He's there's this dog monster was standing on its hind legs, 4 paws elevated, and with the mouth open, ready to pounce on him. He shrank back, yelled, and he actually grabbed his gun by the door and discharged it immediately in the face of this ferocious-looking dog. He said that a terrible shriek was let out, like someone in terrible agony. He slammed the door shut, and shortly after that, his wife went out the door and looked outside, and there was no dog, there was no apparition, everything was quiet, like nothing had ever happened. So early on the following morning, Mr. Richardson and this other neighbor went out to their barnyard to feed their livestock. And going into the corn crib, they observed this ghost dog. and its head was like protruding like out of the corn crib door, like leering around the door as if it's ready to jump on them. They go back to the house, get an axe, and they go out there determined to, like, this is for once and all, we're going to get rid of this dog, right? They advance on the dog and find the dog completely lifeless. So the dog has been known to be dead, but he managed, I guess, when he was shot originally by Mr. Richardson, to go to the corn crib and lay there and died. So, pretty interesting story. The dog apparently was cold to the touch and most likely wasn't alive doing all of this commotion. It was definitely, they said, the ghost of the dog.